Daniel Vorcaro's Mafia, it's worth billions. That's a lot of money. And the more the criminal organization moves money, the more it needs companies and people. Companies to move the money and try to divert it, sending it to one company, then another, to try to hide the money trail. And people who are fronts to take on responsibilities, so the leaders of the criminal organization can't be reached. And since we're talking about a fraud worth billions, I honestly wouldn't doubt that this movie was used as a front for money laundering. They needed to launder a lot of money. They needed intermediaries, both individuals and companies, to try to launder the money, to put the money into circulation under a pseudo-image of legality. And I don't doubt that the movie was used as a big money laundering scheme, including for the distribution of bribes. Now, if there was bribery, there must have been some kind of previous relationship that benefited the one who was paying the bribe. And if that's the case, the police have to find out. What did the Bolsonaro family do for Daniel Vorcaro? For Daniel Vorcaro to be paying bribes to the Bolsonaro family, if that's the case. I know that Banco Master exists today, and it was possible to commit the frauds because the president of the central bank, chosen by Bolsonaro, Campos Neto, authorized Banco Master to operate as Banco Master. I know that Banco Master also committed fraud at the INSS, stealing from thousands of INSS retirees and pensioners, Banco Master, because Minister Onyx Lorenzoni, under Bolsonaro, while he was president, authorized Banco Master to have access to the INSS records of retirees and pensioners. I know that. Daniel Vorcaro donated through his main financial advisor, who is also under arrest, Fabiano Zettel, donated 3 million to Bolsonaro's campaign in 2022. What I'm telling you are facts. For those who know how to read, or for those who understand well, a hint is enough. And what gave Flavio the power to demand millions from Daniel Vorcaro? I always tell you here, if you're asking someone for money, either you provided a service to that person and want to get paid, or you're a partner of that person and want to receive your share. Or you sold something to that person and want to receive the money from the sale of what you sold. So I think there's a lot that needs to be explained, especially by Flavio Bolsonaro. Why? Because Flavio Bolsonaro is a pre-candidate for the presidency of the Republic. He wants to reach the highest position in the political field of Brazil. So he owes people an explanation. And instead of explaining all this, he's avoiding interviews and running away from journalists. The audio leaked, he tried to explain, came up with a lie, then The Intercept exposed the truth. It got worse for him. The spreadsheet leaked. The Intercept released the payment spreadsheet showing the money that went to the fund for Eduardo Bolsonaro's lawyer. According to what's there, it's a conversation between Daniel Vorcaro, Tiago, and Fabiano Zettel. In the transfers, it was 78 million to the fund for the film, according to them. He doesn't explain anything. Then Folha de São Paulo comes out and says there's PCC money in the movie. It wasn't even The Intercept. It wasn't any left-wing journalistic outlet. It was Folha de São Paulo. And it said that there's a company, one of the fictechs, which is already known from the Carbono Oculto investigation as a fictex of the PCC, which is also involved in this situation with the plot of Bolsonaro's movie. Who said that? An article last week from Folha de São Paulo. And Flavio Bolsonaro gives no explanation. He's going to events, he's already working on the election and doesn't explain anything. And he's avoiding the journalists. Here's the thing, if you want to enter public life, democracy allows you to do that. Whoever you are, as long as you're not ineligible or anything, you can run for office. From the moment you become a public figure, especially in politics, you owe accountability to the public. Does Flavio think he'll win the election without explaining himself? He won't. He won't, guys. He has to explain, and he's running away from journalists like the devil runs from the cross. Then when he talks, he comes to talk about the Workers' Party. Oh, it's the Workers' Party. Oh, it's Lula. Oh, I don't know what. And he doesn't explain anything, nothing. For those who didn't know Daniel Vorcaro and suddenly got caught charging millions from Daniel Vorcaro, for God's sake, right? It's very suspicious. It's right here, look. The forensic report does not clarify the use of 75 million in Bolsonaro's film. The ones who have to clarify it are the film's producers. In fact, Eduardo Bolsonaro is listed as one of the film's producers. And the ones who have to clarify are those who were asking for money for the Flavio and Bolsonaro film, and they don't clarify anything. Then come the polls. Electoral. Guys, ask your question and I'll answer it today at 8 p.m., okay? Live. Join the WhatsApp group here too. It's free so you don't miss anything. Ask your question, highlight your question, and I'll answer it today at 8 p.m. Then the polls come out. Naturally, people aren't stupid. Then the surveys show that Flavio is melting down. He's falling. Then Nunes Marquez comes and censors the survey right after May 19th, if I'm not mistaken. Right after the audio was revealed by Intercept with Flavio demanding money from Daniel Vorcaro, Flavio drops almost 13 percentage points. And Lula almost wins in the first round with 47% of the voting intentions. Then comes Nunes Marquez, Supreme Court Justice, also president of the Superior Electoral Court, who was appointed to the Supreme Court and consequently to the Electoral Court by former President Bolsonaro. And he censors the poll, saying that this poll couldn't be conducted using what had happened on the eve of the survey. I've already told you, Nunes Marquez was wrong. The fact itself is already true. Flavio Bolsonaro himself said that the audio is real. Look, because the survey needs to have parameters. What does it need to be based on? On the facts. If it was a lie, that would be fine, but it isn't. Then they went ahead and banned the publication of the survey. Then other surveys came out. In all the surveys, Flavio is melting down and dropping. And it's interesting that the Bolsonaristas always have this, right? No, you have to have freedom of speech. Any little thing, what do the Bolsonaristas say it is? No, it's censorship, it's censorship, it's censorship. But now they've changed. Now they want to censor the truth. Let me tell you something, Bolsonaro supporters. There's no way you can censor the truth. The more you try to hide the truth, the more we will show the truth. There's no way. Now, it's interesting how you change your stance. At first, freedom of speech is for everything, even to commit crimes, attack democracy, insult, slander, and defamation, incitement to crime, everything goes, freedom of speech. But now you can't show a poll. That is censorship. This is now before the TSC's full bench for a decision, and a request for time to review the case has been made. By Minister Estela, she requested a review, and now it's under review. All that's left is for her to hold the review for 90 days. The electoral process will begin soon. What will Nunes Marquez do with his life? Is he going to censor all the polls? Because consequently, the other polls remain the same. Flavio is falling and Lula is rising. And the most desperate poll of all, Andre, was it the one that Nunes Marquez censored? No. No. It wasn't. The most desperate poll for Flavio is the one that showed that Flavio is dropping among evangelicals. And Lula is rising. You want to know something? Evangelicals are tired of being embarrassed. And I believe that, in fact, they're tired of covering up for criminals. And it's getting to the point where it's so bad, so embarrassing that they're walking away. It's true. They covered up several tragedies, several situations, turning a blind eye, pretending not to see. But now there's no way anymore. Even Silas Malafia, right? As soon as this poll came out, Silas Malafia rushed to social media saying that a true believer, a true evangelical does not support Lula, that this is absurd. He only stopped short of saying that evangelicals who support Lula are sinning and will go to hell as if he were God. Isn't that right? But I think the ones who are close to hell are other people. Isn't that true? But, desperate, yelling, and saying that a true evangelical can't support Lula, blah, and then comes that whole situation saying that Lula is in favor of abortion. Lula never said he was in favor of abortion. Never, on the contrary. Lula is Catholic, he is against abortion. Not Lula. Then they come and say it's because Lula supports terrorism. Lula never said he supports terrorists. Never. In fact, he condemned those attacks by Hamas back then when they happened, just as he also condemns the genocide by Benjamin Netanyahu. Many of you evangelicals want to make excuses. That's not okay either, right? Then they come with a bunch of lies, which is exactly what Flavio Bolsonaro is saying in this political campaign that he's already running across Brazil. Saying that Lula, this whole situation. And honestly, people aren't stupid. And evangelicals are tired of being embarrassed. Nevertheless, we know that many evangelicals do not support Flavio Bolsonaro. They don't support him. Maybe they don't even back Lula. Right? Maybe they don't support Lula, but they're not going to vote for Flavio either. No, because an evangelical is an evangelical. They have at least a minimal sense of politics, at least some morals, right? As it should be. They don't vote for a crook like Flavio, guys. Did you hear? The poll shows Lula's numbers went up. It looks like 6 points and Flavio dropped by 4 to almost 6 points among evangelicals. This is the most devastating poll for Flavio Bolsonaro. Why? Because he thinks he will keep deceiving the evangelicals. He won't deceive the evangelicals anymore. What he can do is manipulation through collusion with some religious leaders, where the leaders in the basements have some arrangements. Then, these religious leaders will manipulate their followers. They will use the good faith of their followers to manipulate them. Just like that, they will manipulate everyone. Because the truth is coming out here on social media, on TV, and so on. So, what could there be? A game of interest by spiritual leaders, true mercenaries of faith, who, for other interests, will use their spiritual influence to manipulate their flock. That, I'm sure, will happen and is already happening. But the people are waking up. The brother, the sister are sitting there watching the situation. They are waking up. Silas released a video that I won't show because he yells and I'm not in the mood today. No one is obligated, right? And if I put his video here, he runs to YouTube and reports me for copyright. That means we're bothering him, right? But this poll is really very desperate for the Bolsonaro clan. And with that, what is Flavio's tendency? What I always tell you is to radicalize. It's to radicalize. He comes with that devil's nonsense. A PT supporter is a demon. The left is a demon. communists. They come out with that line that the left supports abortion. Are there people who support abortion? Yes, there are. Some people disagree. I don't support abortion. I'm not. And I'm left wing. What do I understand? I understand that the law must be respected. In fact, a bill was even passed in the National Congress that makes it easier for pedophile fathers to abuse their pregnant daughters and so on. This was approved and was instituted by Davi Alcolumbre. This will go to the Supreme Federal Court because it's unconstitutional, it's malicious, it's evil, it's defending the pedophile, it's defending the rapist at the expense mainly of children. This was approved with massive support from the Bolsonaristas. It will be overturned in the Supreme Federal Court, and it will be restored as it is. There are 3 situations in which Brazil allows abortion. When the fetus is anencephalic. She does the exams there and realizes that the fetus doesn't have a brain. There's no way it can be born alive. The mother can terminate her pregnancy in this case. Am I in favor? Yes, I am in favor. In cases of rape, the woman can terminate the pregnancy. Am I in favor? Yes, I am. The woman is not obligated to endure a situation like that. Besides the rape, besides everything else, to go through that and have to live with it. That is also allowed. And in case of risk of death for the woman, continuing the pregnancy will be fatal for the woman. She also has the right to terminate. These are the 3 legal cases of abortion in Brazil. I support these 3 cases that are allowed by law. Other than that, I do not support abortion. And I am left-wing. But these religious grifters use all of this to say, oh, baby, oh, in favor of the terrorist. Who here is in favor of the terrorist, guys? For God's sake. Who would be crazy enough to be in favor of the terrorist? Unless they're a terrorist. In fact, if there's really PCC money in Bolsonaro's movie, Donald Trunqueira has to step in, right? He said he'd intervene wherever there are terrorists. Since PCC and Comando Vermelho are now labeled terrorists in Brazil by the US, shouldn't he intervene there too? So, like, they mix everything together to get the brothers and sisters and brainwash them through religious fundamentalism, where they're making deals behind the scenes. There will always be people interested in this, just like there always have been. Most evangelicals are coming to their senses. And that's very important. And that's the most alarming poll for the Bolsonaros. And it will already make it so that Flavio Bolsonaro only has one way out. Absolute radicalization. To get the crazy extremists to make noise. That's the only thing he'll have, noise. And at this rate, he'll lose in the first round, like I've already told you. My dear, it's just a little bit that was revealed. And Flavio is already melting down. Imagine when the video comes out of Flavio licking Daniel Vorcaro's boots for money. Lula is going to win in the first round. Calm down, you can cry all you want. That's right, the people responsible for this too. It's not just those of us on the left voting. We're not alone in this. The people responsible for this are also the scummy right-wingers who cover up for the far right, where they couldn't put forward a candidate to stand in for Lula. Because they did cover up, they keep covering up, and they accept Bolsonarism no matter what. And in the end, they became doormats for the far right, and now they're going to be embarrassed. They're already being embarrassed, aren't they? Zima is already going after Flavio. Then Eduardo already said they have to cut ties with Novo. With the Novo party, which is Zima's and is there with the Bolsonarists, no, we have to cut relations with Novo. Cut it. Cut ties with whoever you want. The PP Republicans are already distancing themselves. Flavio is running after a vice president. He can't find anyone who wants to be his vice. Then he already mentioned Zanata. Now he's talking about Cleitinho. Put whoever you want. They're going to be embarrassed whether it's on credit, debit, or Pix. Put Nicholas as vice. Put the prodigy boy there. You can put whoever you want. Actually, whoever you want isn't going. Whoever you want won't get dragged down with you. But not even Nicholas is going with those ones. I'll bet my face on it if Nicholas goes, he won't go. Because he knows the trouble that's coming. When there's a debate, guys, what is Flavio going to do? Is he going to fake a stabbing too so he doesn't have to go to the debates? What is Flavio going to do? Because he's going to embarrass himself. It's going to be something I'll watch from the front row. We'll watch it together from the front row. I'll broadcast it live. It's a shame. That's where the right wing ended up. What a shame. But you really have to suffer. As my grandmother said, some learn through love, others only through pain. Bolsonarism is no good for anyone, not even for the right wing. Unless they want to keep embarrassing themselves like they've been doing. And Lula's victory will be very important. A fourth win. The only one. And again, over Bolsonaro. I don't want Flavio to leave, no. There are Bolsonaro supporters who come here. Oh, you guys are afraid of Flavio. I want Flavio. You don't understand. I want Flavio. I want a hardcore loyalist again, a Bolsonaro loyalist to get trounced by Lula. At this rate, make it a fourth win in the first round. It's going to send a very important message here to Brazil, but it's going to send an even more important message outside of Brazil. The Brazilian people don't want the far right. The Brazilian people don't want hate. The Brazilian people don't want homophobia, transphobia, sexism, misogyny, or violence. The Brazilian people don't want religion or faith to be used as merchandise. The Brazilian people don't want the pulpit to become a political platform. It's low class for criminals, for militiamen. The Brazilian people say no to that. It's going to be very important. It's going to be very interesting. And I'll say more. It will be necessary. I want Flavio. I told you that from the beginning, since the very beginning. Andre, I want Flavio. If I were Lula, I would say, I want Flavio. Calm down. Don't scare the fish away now. Let him come. When he comes, he's going to get beaten and lose his way home, even forget the way home. Do you understand, my dear? Bolsonaro, since he couldn't choose Eduardo Bolsonaro, because from what it seems, Eduardo went to the United States to get the money. Those millions and millions that were going to the United States, which were meant for the movie. Why do I say that? Another coincidence. When was the first transfer of $2 million, 10 million raised, sent to the United States? What day was it? February 13th of last year. What happened at the end of that same month, last February? What? Eduardo Bolsonaro left his position as a federal deputy and went to the United States. Where did the money go? In the fund managed by his lawyer, Eduardo Bolsonaro's lawyer. Or are you going to tell me, no, Andre, all of this is just a coincidence? Then the problem is with you. Do you understand, my dear? Then after this first payment every month, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, it was more than 5 million per month going to the United States. I ask you, why did Eduardo go there? Flavio stayed to collect. Dudu Bananinha, from all indications, went there to receive the money. Do you think that this family that loves money, do you really think that Eduardo Bolsonaro would give up a salary of almost 50,000 reais to go to the United States and be broke without a penny in his pocket? You have to be really dumb to believe in a situation like that. And you can see that the evidence is coming to light, and that the facts and actions are falling into place over time and across the board. Do you understand, my dear? It's a puzzle that the federal police and maybe even the civil police of São Paulo will reveal. Where there's a pig's ear, a pig's tail, and the spirit of a pig. And the pigs indulge themselves in the billions and billions and billions from the Vorcaro Mafia when they saw We're talking about billions, folks. The scheme is billions everywhere you look. And the guy needs to launder money. He needs a legal entity. He needs a front man. He needs everything. They got greedy. The pigs went there and indulged themselves. They really enjoyed it. They left a trail because it was a lot of money. And in their arrogance and greed, this empire of the Bolsonaristas will fall. Oh, there's no corruption. And now, and this is just the beginning. It's just at the beginning of the fall. And just like the live stream, it's really important, okay? I'm not going to keep telling you to vote, okay? Let me tell you something. I'm going to be very honest with you. I think this is really annoying. I'll put the link in the video description and first comment. If you want to vote, do it. If not, that's fine. I'm not going to keep telling people to vote. I don't like that. Because I like talking to you, and anything like that breaks my train of thought. I don't like that. I just like talking to you. And I've already talked here with the production team, with the central office and everything. I said, just leave the link in the first comment and in the video description. I'm not going to ask anymore. Whoever wants to vote, votes. Whoever doesn't want to vote, that's fine. And that's fine, okay? Because I'm here to share information. Whether I'm the best political influencer in Brazil or not, that's just a detail. The important thing is that you are here. Whether I am or not, that's fine too, guys. I don't intend to be, and I never even wanted to be. I'm just here. I'm here today with you, and I do my best. And that's it. That's all. Okay? Now, I want you to join the WhatsApp channel group so you don't miss anything. Whenever there's something new, I'll send it to you. A QR code is available, and the link will be in the description and first comment. And also, every day from Monday to Friday, I come on at 8 p.m. right here to answer the highlighted questions, okay? This is the Andrea Gonçalves channel. Every day at 8 p.m. from Monday to Friday, I'm here on this channel. The link is also in the first comment in the video description where I will answer the questions you highlighted, okay? And it's really cool because you all are asking very interesting questions. And it's really good because sometimes I don't explain every detail here because there's a lot to cover. And there we wrap everything up by explaining some important situations, even with shorter videos, okay? Here I talk about a lot of topics, and here it's at least an hour. There it's 15, 20 minutes. It will obviously depend on the questions too, right? It depends. If the question is bigger, the explanation will be longer, right? But anyway, you can also highlight your questions there, which will be really nice. Let's see here, Alencar Santana talking about this issue of elections, polls.
President Lula heading for his fourth term. Good news for Brazil starting the week. That's what a poll published by Nexo today, this Monday, shows, and the numbers are extremely good. Look, he increases his lead in the first round, consolidates and expands his victory in the second round, improves his approval rating as president of the republic, with positive ratings now surpassing negative ones, and that's extremely good. Flavio Bolsonaro's disapproval increases. The disapproval goes up while President Lula's remains stable. This means that Flavio is losing voters within Bolsonarism itself, who are realizing who he is, noticing his involvement with Bolsomaster, and seeing that his support is for the United States and not for Brazil. At the same time, people are recognizing the greatness and importance of President Lula's government. So folks, let's keep playing for real with a lot of enthusiasm, with a lot of strength, defending our project and making sure President Lula wins. And why not in the first half, in the first round?
That's it. Lula wins first round for the fourth time. Look, Quest, Lula opens a 10-point lead over Flavio and grows among evangelical voters. 44% for Lula and Flavio, 38%. It used to be the other way around, you know? Among evangelicals, the situation was the opposite. Flavio was ahead and Lula was behind. And now, in the latest Quest poll, Lula has surpassed Flavio. Right? And Flavio dropped among evangelicals. This is causing panic among the Bolsonaro supporters. Why, Andre? Because evangelicals are waking up. That's why Silas made a desperate video. He almost said that evangelicals who vote for Lula are going to hell. But that's pretty much what he meant. That's how desperate he is. As if he actually decides anything in the heavenly realm, right? It's one thing after another, I tell you. And this is today's poll. Lula goes up from 40 to 42 and Flavio drops from 35 to 33. That was today's poll. Lula opens up more than 4 points over Flavio Bolsonaro, who is collapsing with the Vorcaro scandal. BTG Nexus poll. The president opens an even bigger lead in the first round. In the second round, Lula increases his victory by 2 points over Flavio Bolsonaro, okay? And that's the situation. The situation is Flavio falling and Lula rising. Let's take a look here at this situation I explained to you about Nunes Marquez, about censoring the poll. He'll have to censor them all since it'll only get worse from here, right? Leonel Hadi talked about this situation. Let's see.
I want to share some information about Casio Nunes Marquez. And Casio Nunes Marquez is the president of the TSE during this electoral period, and he is a Bolsonarist figure appointed by Jair Bolsonaro to the Supreme Court, and now he takes over the presidency during the elections. And he is already showing what he came for. And that's where the double standards come in. They talk so much about Alexandre de Moraes, who wasn't appointed by Lula. Alexandre de Moraes is the minister chosen by Michel Temer, right? They talk so much about Alexandre de Moraes' partiality, the supposed partiality of Alexandre de Moraes. But now it's with Casio Nunes Marquez and everything's fine. Casio Nunes Marquez has all of Flavio Bolsonaro's cases that go to the TSE. They all end up with him. And he always makes decisions that favor the side Flavio Bolsonaro chooses. Starting with the electoral poll that was absurdly censored and even received criticism within the TSE itself, since the censorship of the poll made no sense at all. Up until now, this decision, I agree. I believe that this movie should, have the freedom to be shown, even though it has a series of irregularities and everything indicates that it was made with illicit money. So it has a series of irregularities. It wasn't registered in Brazil. It didn't comply with Brazilian laws. There are several people who didn't get paid. The rents they used there weren't paid either. So there are a series of lawsuits, including some being filed against the production of this movie. But anyway, right? He has the right to at least be released on social media, which I believe is its future. I don't think it will be able to get into movie theaters because of legal issues. But it's interesting. The partiality of Casio Nunes Marquez, how he has acted, and the coincidences of all the cases ending up in his lap. I want to mention something interesting.
Right? Do you remember that a petition was filed to prohibit the screening of the movie before the election? That's right. Casio Nunes Marquez declined to hear the petition. For him, the movie can be shown, yes, during the election, before the election, and in any situation. Okay? Right, Andre? Yes. For electoral reasons, Casio Nunes Marquez did not prohibit the showing of the movie. It can be prohibited for criminal reasons unrelated to electoral matters. Can it be? The Supreme Court, for example, can prohibit it. Can it, Andre? Yes, it can. In fact, the Supreme Court has already been called upon in this regard. But it would be for reasons not related to electoral matters themselves, but for criminal reasons. If there really is money from the PCC, if there really is a situation and this is proven before the election, because if it's not proven, there's no way to censor it. But I'm going to be very honest with you. It's my perception. This movie for me is going to be a shot in the foot. And every time people watch this movie, actually, they're going to associate it and remember the Vorcaro Mafia. And it could be shooting themselves in the foot. So I don't really worry too much about this movie situation. No, I'm not worried. The important thing is that the truth comes out, that the evidence comes out so we can have access to what really happened in Flavio's ties to Daniel Vorcaro's Mafia involving the movie. And I think that's more important. All right? And by the way, on Tuesday, the Senate will bring back the issue of the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule. That's important. And tomorrow, we'll also be here together to follow the trial of Eduardo Bolsonaro. So far, it hasn't been canceled. It's scheduled for tomorrow at 2 p.m. It's already set. I've even scheduled it with you all. The trial of Eduardo Bananinha. It's already set, see? I've even scheduled it. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., we will broadcast live together with you the trial of Eduardo Bolsonaro before the first panel of the Supreme Federal Court for the crime of coercion in the course of the proceedings. combined with Article 71, which refers to a continuing offense, where I believe Eduardo Bolsonaro will be convicted. He will get almost 9 years in prison, all right? And I even believe it will be unanimous. The prosecutor general who filed the charges and handled the whole situation, and I believe he will be convicted and soon he will officially be a fugitive, all right? But I'm letting you know in advance, we will be following this trial live here tomorrow. All right? Please like the live stream, comment, and share. Kisses. Thank you.